Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has paused everything around you for this very moment. You are not here by coincidence. You are standing at the threshold of purpose. And the crushing you are feeling is not a punishment, it is preparation. Every door that slammed in your face, every prayer that seemed unanswered, every season where silence weighed heavier than words, none of it was wasted. God is not breaking you to destroy you. He is breaking you to rebuild you into the vessel He can trust. You wonder why comfort turned into chaos, why the ground beneath you began to shake. It is because the destiny you carry cannot be built on fragile foundations. The pressure you feel is heaven's construction. God is removing what cannot stand under the weight of glory. You are the clay, and He is the potter. His hands are steady, His vision perfect. The breaking you endure is the shaping He intends. You have asked for elevation, but before promotion comes purification. Heaven cannot place new wine in old wineskins. The pruning is not cruelty, it is mercy disguised as loss. Every crushing is a sacred invitation to release control and trust again. Do not despise the breaking, it is the sound of transformation. The silence has been long. I know. The nights have whispered doubt into your soul. You have cried, "Why me, Lord?" Yet heaven answers, "Because I see what you cannot." You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not falling apart, you are falling into purpose. What feels like the end is simply the middle of your making. Chosen one, remember this truth. God never wastes pain. Every disappointment, every detour, every heartbreak is divine instruction in disguise. He is teaching you endurance so your spirit can carry eternal weight. He is stripping away what you thought you needed so that only what is eternal will remain. What others call rejection, heaven calls redirection. You are being set apart, and that separation often looks like isolation. People who once understood you now fall silent. Places that once felt familiar now feel foreign. Do not fight it. This is evidence that heaven has marked you for more. You were never created to blend in. You were created to stand out as living proof of divine craftsmanship. You are walking through fire, but you will not be consumed. You are being crushed, but not destroyed. There is glory in your breaking. Just as the olive must be pressed to release its oil, your spirit must be pressed to release anointing. The sound of your surrender is echoing through eternity right now. What you are enduring is not meant to end you, it is meant to end who you were, so the true you can arise. God's breaking always precedes His building. You will emerge purified, humbled, unshakable. You will speak with power that only pain can produce. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. So be still. Chosen one, let heaven fight for you. You do not need to understand the process to trust the purpose. Your breaking is not a curse, it is your confirmation. Heaven does not crush what it has not chosen. You are chosen. You are marked. You are the one God has decided to use. There is a stillness that carries power, a quiet surrender that shakes the heavens. When you stop striving and start trusting, the battle shifts in your favor. God fights best for those who have stopped fighting for control. Rest becomes your warfare, and peace your proof of faith. Even now, the angels stand watch over you. The weight you feel is not defeat, It is destiny pressing against time. Every tear is counted, every sigh recorded, every cry heard. You are not forgotten. You are written into the divine timeline of victory. Your breaking carries heaven's signature of purpose. And though you stand in the ruins now, remember, every seed must first break before it grows. You are not buried. You are planted. The darkness surrounding you is not a grave, but a womb of new beginnings. When light returns, you will not recognize yourself, for the version that emerges will walk in wisdom and fire. The very things that once wounded you will become the testimony that heals others. The ashes of your past will become the anointing of your future. Hold on. Chosen one. Heaven is not late. Heaven is perfect. Every delay is a doorway to greater glory. You are being sculpted by the same hands that shaped galaxies. Rest in that truth. Even now, angels are preparing the next chapter of your destiny. If this message resonates in your spirit, pause for a moment of reverence, then like, share, and subscribe so others who are walking through their breaking may also be strengthened. And if you feel heaven speaking directly to your heart, comment below 777 as a prophetic declaration that you choose to trust God even in the crushing. Chosen one. The silence has stretched long, hasn't it? The world moves on while heaven seems to hold you still. You watch others rise, while your own wings remain clipped by delay. You pray, and the heavens stay quiet. You knock, and no door opens. Yet deep within, a whisper tells you not to give up, that this stillness is sacred. God is shaping you in silence. What feels like waiting is actually weaving. The unseen years are not wasted years. They are the years when the roots grow deep. You see, when God hides you, it is not rejection, it is protection. Before He reveals you to the world, He must first reveal Himself to you. He is forming strength in solitude, teaching you the art of listening when no one else speaks, the grace of obedience when no one else applauds. These are the silent years of shaping, where greatness is forged not in noise, but in quiet submission. Moses had 40 years in the desert. David tended sheep before he held a crown. Joseph was forgotten in prison before he was remembered in Pharaoh's palace. The same God who worked through them is working through you. In this silence that feels like exile, you are not overlooked, you are being observed by heaven. You are learning to find God not in miracles, but in moments, the quiet mornings, the nights of surrender, the breath between sobs. All are sanctuaries where heaven meets humanity. Every delay is a divine appointment in disguise. When God hides you, He is ensuring that when you finally emerge, no man can claim to have made you. In this season of silence, your obedience speaks louder than words. The way you keep believing when there is no sign of breakthrough, heaven takes notice. The way you remain kind when bitterness would be easier, that is worship. The way you keep showing up in faith when results seem invisible, that is victory unseen by men but celebrated by angels. God's greatest work often begins in hidden places. The seed breaks in darkness before it ever reaches light. The womb is quiet before the cry of life fills the air. The sculptor carves in private before the statue is unveiled. So it is with you. You are being prepared, piece by piece, thought by thought, choice by choice, for something that cannot be rushed. There is a rhythm in heaven that human time cannot comprehend. You want results, God wants roots. You want movement, God wants maturity. He is not withholding, He is perfecting. Every unanswered prayer is an altar of trust. Every delay, a declaration that His timing is still sovereign. Sometimes, silence is His way of saying, stay close. You learn more about His nature when He seems quiet than when He speaks loudly. Because in silence, you must choose to believe what He already said. Faith is not born in clarity, it is born in confusion. True trust begins when evidence disappears. You are being trained for endurance, not entertainment. Others may sprint ahead, but you are being built to last. Your foundation is deeper because your calling is higher. God's delay is not denial, it is design. You will understand this one day when everything suddenly aligns, when every pain finds purpose, every tear finds testimony. And when that moment comes, you will realize that God was never late. The very thing you thought was lost will return multiplied. The time you thought you wasted will become wisdom. The doors that closed will prove they were never meant for you. This is not stagnation. This is sanctification. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that outweighs all." Hold this truth close. Chosen one, the shaping season is holy. It may not sparkle, but it sanctifies. It strips away all that is temporary so that what remains is unshakable. In the silence, you are learning heaven's language. In the waiting, you are being transformed into the vessel that can carry His promise without breaking under its weight. Do not rush what God is still refining. You are being prepared for visibility. But first, you must be grounded in invisibility. You are being built to stand where others fall. Every unseen moment matters. Every act of faith in silence is forming the architecture of your future testimony. So stay hidden, not in fear, but in faith. Trust that when heaven finally unveils what it has been forming, the world will know that your strength did not come from striving, but from surrender. And on that day, every silent year will make sense, and every unseen moment will shine with eternal purpose. Chosen one, do you feel it? The isolation pressing in like a silent storm. You look around and find yourself alone, separated from familiar voices, stripped of the comfort of company. It feels cruel, doesn't it? The quiet is loud, the distance heavy. But listen closely. This isolation is not abandonment, it is consecration. God has drawn a circle around you, not to cage you, but to consecrate you. You were asking for intimacy with Him, and He answered by removing distractions. You prayed for clarity, and He cleared the crowd. The people who left were part of the pruning, not the punishment. Heaven does not isolate to injure, it isolates to instruct. You are not being ignored, you are being invited into the secret place. This is the furnace of isolation. Here, the false layers melt away. Here, the noise of the world fades until only one voice remains. It is not an easy classroom, but it is a holy one. The lessons you learn in this silence will echo for a lifetime. You are being trained to stand when no one claps, to believe when no one confirms, to love when no one reciprocates. The wilderness has a way of showing you who God really is and who you really are. When no one else remains, you discover that His presence is not just enough, it is everything. The same presence that walked with Moses in the desert and sustained Elijah beneath the juniper tree is now walking with you. The same voice that called Samuel in the stillness of night is whispering your name right now. In isolation, the world loses its grip, and heaven gains your attention. You begin to see the patterns of grace hidden beneath the pain. You realize that solitude is not loneliness, it is intimacy without interference. God is doing surgery on your soul, removing the fragments of dependency that once chained you to people's approval. You are learning that peace cannot come from crowds, it comes from communion. The longer you stay in His presence, the more you are transformed. What once hurt begins to heal. What once confused you begins to make sense. The furnace of isolation burns away illusions, leaving behind a purified vision. You begin to see yourself not as forgotten, but as chosen for refinement. Remember this: chosen one diamonds are not formed in daylight, but in darkness. Roots do not grow under applause, but under pressure. And prophets are not born in palaces, but in caves. You are walking through your cave season, the place where noise ceases and revelation speaks. Heaven is not silent out of neglect. Heaven is silent because it is watching how you respond to being unseen. Will you still worship when no one notices? Will you still believe when no one affirms? Those who learn to love God in the wilderness are the ones who carry His glory in the promised land. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Your Father sees. Chosen one, every tear, every whispered prayer, every step of faith taken in the shadows, He records them all. There is nothing wasted in your isolation. The reward will not be fame, it will be fire. You will walk out of this season glowing with glory, carrying a peace that cannot be stolen. Do not despise this hidden chapter. Embrace it as divine preparation. When God brings you out, you will not just speak about faith, you will embody it. Your very presence will testify of endurance. Others will sense the fire you survived and the fragrance of His presence that clings to you. Isolation will end, but the intimacy it births will not. This season is temporary, but its impact is eternal. God is removing the counterfeit so that the authentic can be revealed. What you lose in company, you gain in clarity. What you lose in noise, you gain in anointing. Now, as this message reaches your spirit, pause for a sacred moment. Let these words settle deep. You are not forgotten, you are being fashioned. You are not empty, you are being equipped. Heaven's silence is not absence, it is attention. The one who called you apart is also the one who walks beside you in the shadows. When this truth resonates in you, comment these simple words below: I am listening. Let it be your declaration that though the world is loud, your heart is tuned to heaven's frequency. When you type it, do it as an act of faith, as a prophetic response that says, I may be isolated, but I am not idle. I am learning to hear God again. You are not hidden to be forgotten. You are hidden to be filled. And when you finally emerge, you will not just be seen, you will be sent. Chosen one, you have been faithful through the silence, patient in the isolation, and yet there is still a weight you cannot explain. You pray, and the heavens seem motionless. You work, but progress feels slow. It is as though time itself has been stretched into a test. This, beloved, is the season of divine delay, the weight of waiting, where God measures your heart more than your hands. You see, delay is heaven's tool of depth. When God withholds what you desire, it is not because he is cruel, it is because he is cultivating endurance. You are being taught to trust his character more than his calendar. The space between promise and fulfillment is sacred. It is where faith matures. In this tension, impatience wants to rush ahead, but wisdom whispers, wait. Every unanswered prayer, every longing unfulfilled, every door still closed, these are not signs of divine neglect. They are marks of divine precision. The Father is weaving details beyond your sight. He knows when the soil of your soul is ready to sustain what he is about to plant. If he gave it too early, the blessing would break you. Delay is not denial, it is divine alignment. Think of Abraham waiting for Isaac, or Joseph holding on to dreams through betrayal and prison. Each waited through years that seemed silent. Yet none of those years were wasted. Their waiting built endurance, humility, and depth. What you see as delay is heaven stretching your capacity for glory. You cry, Lord, how long? And heaven answers with silence, because this silence is shaping you. Every pause, every postponed promise is chiseling your impatience into perseverance. You are learning that faith is not proven by receiving, but by remaining. The miracle is not only in the manifestation, it is in the maturity that forms while you wait. Chosen one. There are days when you feel suspended between not yet and almost. That space can feel suffocating, but if you listen carefully, you'll hear the heartbeat of heaven pulsing in rhythm with your endurance. God delays not because he doubts you, but because he's preparing what will meet you. He is aligning people, places, and purposes that must intersect perfectly for his will to be fulfilled. There is a law of timing written into the divine order of things. Even Jesus waited 30 years before 3 years of ministry. David was anointed king long before he wore a crown. Time is not your enemy, it is your tutor. Waiting seasons build spiritual muscle that blessings alone cannot. Every day that passes is polishing your faith. Every disappointment is refining your discernment. You are learning to separate emotion from instruction, urgency from obedience. And though your heart aches for what you hope will come, your spirit is being taught to say, even if not yet, still I will trust you. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Those words are not just comfort, they are command. Your plans may be pure, your motives sincere, but the steps are still his to order. And sometimes his steps lead through seasons that seem stagnant. But stagnation in the spirit is never wasted. It is stillness before revelation. When you look back, you will understand. You'll see how every delay was a design, how one withheld opportunity spared you from distraction, how one closed door directed you toward destiny. You'll realize that heaven never lost track of time. It simply walked according to a clock you could not see. Delay teaches discernment. It reveals who you are when you do not get what you want. It purifies motives, silences pride, and deepens gratitude. You are learning to love God not for what he gives, but for who he is. That kind of love is unshakable. And when the appointed time comes, and it will, you will recognize that the wait was not wasted. You will see that what once felt delayed was actually delivered right on time. God is never early, and He is never late. The stars move to His command. The seas obey His rhythm, and your life is no exception. So, rest. Chosen one. Breathe in this delay and call it holy. Do not let impatience trick you into forfeiting your preparation. Heaven is not ignoring your prayers. Heaven is improving their answers. What He is crafting for you will carry the fragrance of eternity, not the dust of haste. The delay is not your defeat, it is your development. Let the waiting do its work. When it is done, you will rise wiser, calmer, anchored in trust that cannot be shaken. And you will know that though time tested you, truth carried you. The promise is still alive. It is simply maturing in the silence of divine timing. Chosen one. The fire is rising around you now. You can feel it, the heat of pressure, the blaze of testing, the sparks of resistance all closing in. Everything in you wants to escape, yet something in you knows you cannot. This is the refiner's fire, the holy place where heaven burns away the unnecessary so only purity remains. It is not a pleasant process, but it is a sacred one. Fire does not come to destroy gold, it comes to prove it. Likewise, this season is not sent to ruin you, but to reveal you. God is not trying to harm you. He is heating your life so that every hidden impurity, every fear, every doubt rises to the surface where He can remove it. You are being purified for purpose, melted for meaning. You might not realize it, but every trial, every heartache, every sleepless night is fire shaping faith. You are not being punished, you are being processed. The same way a sculptor chisels stone, God chisels your spirit until His reflection shines back through you. And though the chisel cuts deep, each strike is love in disguise. Pain, to the chosen, is not pointless, it is prophetic. The furnace is not your enemy, it is your anointing room. You are learning endurance, empathy, humility, the rare treasures that only suffering can produce. When you emerge from this fire, you will not smell like smoke, you will radiate strength. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9, I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people. And they will say, the Lord is our God. These words were not written for ancient Israel alone. They are written across your life. God is refining you until He can see His reflection in your endurance. The more intense the fire, the purer the outcome. So, when you feel the flames rise, whisper to your soul, I am not burning up, I am being born again. Sometimes, this process feels like being placed in a forge, hammered by loss, pressed by pain, shaped by circumstances that defy explanation. Yet a sword cannot be strong unless it first survives the fire and the strike. God is crafting you into a weapon of light, a vessel that darkness cannot corrupt. There will come a moment when the fire that terrified you becomes the warmth that sustains you. The same flames that once frightened you will light the path for others. You will tell your story, and those walking through their own furnace will draw courage from your scars. Every scar will shine as proof that pain did not win. You are learning compassion through your suffering. You are learning patience through your pain. The very trials that seem to isolate you are actually qualifying you. God does not anoint theories, He anoints testimony. And testimony only comes from surviving the fire. So, let the flames do their work. Don't resist what is refining you. Every tear is cooling metal. Every prayer is shaping strength. One day, when you stand before others and speak, your words will carry the heat of authenticity. They will burn through despair and ignite hope because they were forged in fire. And now, beloved, as this message touches the deepest corners of your spirit, if you have felt the refining heat in your own life, take a moment of reflection. This work we are building together is a forge for countless hearts across the world. When you choose to like, share, and subscribe, you are not just clicking a button, you are throwing another log on the fire that keeps this light burning. You are extending warmth to those still trembling in the cold of their trial. If you feel led to donate, do it as an act of worship, not obligation. Every seed you sow becomes fuel for another message to reach another soul in need. You are not funding a platform, you are feeding a flame. And heaven records even the smallest ember of generosity. You are part of this divine process, this circle of refining. When one heart burns bright, another finds courage to shine. Together, we become a constellation of endurance, lighting up the darkness. So, as you continue walking through your own refining, know that you are never alone in the fire. There are others, scattered across the earth, walking through their furnaces too, and together, our faith creates a light the darkness cannot extinguish. Chosen one, stand firm in the fire. Let it purify, not petrify. Let it cleanse, not consume. The pain you feel now is shaping the purity you will carry later. Soon, when you look back, you will see that this was never the end, it was the beginning of brilliance. Chosen one. There comes a moment when the fire reaches its fiercest point, the breaking point. You have endured the silence, survived the isolation, and stood firm in the furnace. Yet now, it feels as though the very core of your being is splitting apart. Everything you've built within seems to crack. The prayers are raw, the hope feels thin, and your strength seems gone. But hear this truth, what looks like breaking is birthing. God never breaks you to leave you shattered, He breaks you to bring you forth. There is a sacred rhythm in the way heaven handles His chosen. Every breaking carries within it a divine blueprint for transformation. Before a seed can release life, its outer shell must crack. Before light can break the dawn, darkness must be torn apart. Before you step into purpose, something within you must surrender completely. The breaking point is where heaven begins. It is here, when you reach your end, that God begins His. You've run out of answers, out of strategies, out of self-reliance, and that is exactly where He wanted you, empty of yourself, so He can fill you fully. The breaking point is not your defeat, it's your divine turning point. This pain you feel is not proof that you failed. It's proof that your heart is still alive enough to be transformed. The same way a potter presses down hard before reshaping the clay, God presses down on you so that His fingerprints mark your destiny. The crushing of your comfort is the calling of your courage. When you reach that point of surrender, when you whisper, "I can't hold it anymore," heaven leans closer and whispers back, "You were never meant to hold it alone." The strength you thought you lost is not gone. It is being reborn through divine exchange. You hand Him your weakness, and He hands you His power. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Every tear you've cried at the edge of breaking has been collected by the same hands that hold galaxies. Every sigh that escaped your chest has been heard in the courts of heaven. Your pain is not invisible, it's invaluable. God is closer in your breaking than he ever was in your comfort. Sometimes, breaking feels like betrayal, the betrayal of your plans, your expectations, even your old sense of identity. But in truth, it's deliverance. You're being delivered from false strength into divine dependence. You're learning that surrender is not weakness, it's worship. When you lay down what you cannot fix, heaven picks it up and fashions something beautiful from the ashes. Chosen one. I know this hurts. The weight is real. You wonder how much longer you can endure. But you must understand, this breaking is not to break you apart, but to break you open. God is expanding your capacity. The cracks you see in your soul are actually windows through which his light will shine. What breaks you becomes what makes you. Every time you have fallen to your knees, something eternal was built inside you. Every cry of desperation was a declaration of dependence. And every time you thought it was over, heaven was simply turning the page. Do not rush to escape the breaking. Stay in it until the lesson becomes revelation. When God breaks you, he is not taking something from you, he is preparing to trust you with something greater. You will not remain shattered, you will be shaped. You will not remain wounded, you will be woven into purpose. This is the paradox of heaven's process. You must be undone before you can be remade. You must lose what was temporary to gain what is eternal. Your breaking point is heaven's construction site. Every fragment is being realigned to form the foundation of your next chapter. So lift your head. Chosen one. You are not falling apart, you are falling into alignment. You are not collapsing, you are being constructed. And soon, the very pieces that feel scattered will form the masterpiece you were always meant to become. Now, if this word has met you in the middle of your breaking, if you can feel God working even through your tears, type 9,999 inches, the comments below. Let that number be your prophetic symbol, your declaration that you are not giving up. You are giving in to his will, to his way, to his refining love. Type it as a sign that you trust God to rebuild you stronger than before. Let heaven see your faith even through the fracture. Because what breaks you today will bless you tomorrow. Chosen one. When God begins to break you, he is not only removing what hinders you, he is also dismantling who you thought you were. This is the season where identity shatters. The titles, the roles, the masks, the versions of yourself that once brought comfort are suddenly stripped away. You look into the mirror and barely recognize the reflection staring back. It is terrifying, but it is sacred. This is the shattered identity, the holy undoing that precedes divine revelation. You may wonder why God would allow everything that once defined you to fall apart. The reason is simple, yet profound. He cannot bless who you pretend to be. The false self, the one built from performance, people's opinions, and worldly measures cannot carry a heavenly assignment. Before he can use you, he must reveal who you truly are beneath all that noise. Every loss of identity you feel is heaven carving away illusion. You were never defined by what you did, who you pleased, or how others perceived you. You were defined by his breath, his image, His intention, somewhere along the way, life tried to bury that truth beneath comparison, ambition, and fear. But now, through the breaking, God is unearthing your original design. The process feels brutal because the false self resists dying. It clings to validation, control, and familiarity. It wants to remain in charge. Yet God, in His mercy, removes every foundation that keeps you from authenticity. He lets certain things fall apart, not to humiliate you, but to humble you into freedom. This is the place where the applause stops and the real voice emerges. The identity formed by achievements, relationships, or religion begins to crumble. And in the quiet aftermath, you hear His whisper for the first time, not as a distant deity, but as a father saying, "This is who you truly are." He reminds you that you are not the failure you fear, nor the image you've tried to maintain. You are His child, fearfully and wonderfully made, formed before time with purpose stitched into your being. He is peeling away the layers that life forced upon you until only truth remains. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 2, verse 20, "I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me." Those words are not metaphor, they are metamorphosis. The moment your old identity dies, Christ's identity within you awakens. It's not the end of you, it's the beginning of Him through you. The life you thought you lost is being reborn, purified of pretense and pride. In this sacred undoing, you will mourn the loss of who you were. There will be moments when you feel like a stranger to yourself, when you wonder if anything real remains. But this, too, is part of the resurrection process. Just as a seed disappears before it bears fruit, you must let go of who you were to embrace who you are becoming. God will introduce you to your true self, a self marked by peace instead of performance, humility instead of hustle, authenticity instead of ambition. You will realize that the person He always intended you to be was never out of reach. It was simply buried beneath the expectations of others. Chosen one, you were never called to impress, you were called to impact. You were never called to maintain appearances, you were called to manifest truth. The shattering of your old identity is not loss, it is liberation. Every fragment that falls is a layer of falsehood removed. Do not resist this unraveling. Let Him dismantle the persona that once protected you. The same God who breaks you will also rebuild you, but this time on the rock of revelation, not the sand of performance. You will stand unshaken because your worth will no longer depend on circumstance. It will rest entirely on the unchanging love of God. The world teaches you to create an image. Heaven calls you to bear one His. So, when the old image cracks, rejoice. It means the real one is about to shine through. The light of Christ cannot radiate through polished perfection. It shines through broken transparency. The cracks become the windows where His glory escapes. Soon, you will walk in a peace that cannot be faked and a confidence that cannot be shaken. People will look at you and sense something different, not arrogance, but authenticity. You will carry quiet authority born from the death of pretense, and your story will remind others that brokenness is not the end, it's the unveiling of who they were always meant to be. Let the false identities fall away. Chosen one, what remains will be truer, stronger, and far more beautiful than anything you could have built. You are not losing yourself, you are finally finding yourself in Him, chosen one. The wilderness has a language that only the broken understand. It is not a place of comfort or applause, it is the classroom of heaven. When God leads you into the wilderness, He is not punishing you, He is preparing you. The wilderness is where noise dies and truth lives. It is where all false supports collapse so that only His voice remains. This is not the wilderness of geography, but of the soul. You can stand in a crowded room and still feel the emptiness of this desert. You wake up each day to the same routine. Yet something inside feels stripped bare. You pray, but the sky feels distant. You long for clarity. Yet all you find is quiet. Do not despair. Beloved, this is holy ground, disguised as hardship. God is teaching you to walk by faith, not by sight. In the wilderness, God removes the scaffolding of certainty, the things you used to rely on, your plans, your strength, your understanding no longer sustain you. You are forced to trust in a way you never have before. It is here that dependence becomes devotion. When you can no longer trace His hand, you learn to trust His heart. The wilderness is not the absence of God, it is the refinement of His presence. It is where your spiritual senses sharpen. It is where you learn that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Hunger becomes the teacher that draws you to the true source of life. We are reminded through the story in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep His commands." This verse reveals the divine motive behind every wilderness season: humility, testing, and revelation. God does not lead you into the desert to destroy you. He leads you there to discover you. Not because He doesn't know what is in your heart, but because He wants you to see it. The wilderness exposes what comfort conceals. In the wilderness, the idols of security fall one by one. You learn what truly matters, what truly lasts. You discover that strength is not found in having everything together, but in falling apart in His arms. You learn to stop striving and start surrendering. There is freedom in realizing you are not meant to control the outcome, only to obey the voice that leads you through the unknown. This barren place becomes a proving ground for faith. It is where you learn endurance, where your spiritual muscles stretch beyond old limitations. Every step through the sand teaches you something new about trust. You begin to realize that survival here depends not on resources, but on revelation. You don't need to see the map when you trust the guide. The wilderness is also a place of stripping. God removes distractions so you can hear Him clearly. He removes excess so you can travel lightly. The more He takes away, the freer you become. What once felt like loss now feels like liberation. You start to understand that solitude is not loneliness, it's an invitation to intimacy. Chosen one. There is a hidden beauty in this desolate path. The wilderness may lack comfort, but it overflows with clarity. It is where your soul remembers its original language, silence, to surrender, and simplicity. In this place, the noise of ambition dies and the melody of obedience rises. You learn to find God not in outcomes, but in the ordinary. Every great calling walks through this place. Moses met God in a burning bush in the wilderness. Elijah heard the still, small voice after the storm. Even Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert before his public ministry began. The wilderness is not a detour, it is divine design. Before you can carry power, you must carry purity. You are not lost. Chosen one, you are being led. The sand beneath your feet may shift, but the hand guiding you is steady. The same God who sent manna from heaven and water from the rock still provides today. Every dry step is still divine direction. One day, you will emerge from this wilderness radiant with wisdom and clothed in strength. You will speak with authority that only the desert can teach. And when others walk through their own barren seasons, your voice will remind them that the wilderness is not the end, it is the womb of purpose. So walk on, even when it feels endless. The dust beneath your feet is sacred. Each step of faith echoes through eternity. You are not wandering, you are being written into the story of divine endurance. Chosen one. Every journey through the wilderness eventually leads to a test. You have endured silence, isolation, fire, and breaking, but now comes the test of obedience. It is not a test of how much you know, but of how much you trust. It is the moment heaven asks you to surrender what you most treasure, to lay down what you thought was essential, and to obey even when obedience costs everything. God does not test to expose weakness, He tests to reveal strength. The test is never for His information, it is for your transformation. The moment will come when you hear that quiet whisper, "Give it back to me." It may be your plans, your pride, your timeline, or even your dream. The true test of a chosen vessel is not how well they pray, but how deeply they obey. Obedience is the language of faith. It is the sound that shakes the gates of darkness. When you choose to obey despite confusion, heaven takes notice. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, carries eternal weight. The unseen yes in your spirit echoes louder in eternity than 1,000 public declarations. There are times when obedience will make no sense. Abraham was told to sacrifice Isaac, the very promise God Himself had given. Logic would have said, "This cannot be God." But faith said, "Even if it is the end, I will trust Him." Abraham didn't know God was testing him to reveal a deeper revelation that obedience always precedes provision. The Word of God declares in the book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse 12, "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know you fear God, for you withheld your son." That was the moment obedience unlocked destiny. Heaven revealed a ram in the thicket, proving that God always provides for those who obey. The same is true for you. Chosen one. Every time you surrender, you activate divine provision. Every time you say yes, heaven rearranges itself to fulfill your purpose. But obedience is not always glorious. It often begins in grief. You may feel like you are losing everything when you obey, but in truth, you are gaining everything that lasts. Sometimes obedience means walking away from what looks perfect but isn't holy. Sometimes it means staying still when your heart wants to run, and sometimes it means forgiving what still hurts. The hardest obedience often hides the highest blessing. The enemy whispers, "You're missing out," but heaven whispers back, "You're being positioned." You may not see it now, but obedience always bears fruit in time. God is testing not just your faith, but your trust in His timing. Chosen one. Obedience is not an emotion, It is a decision. Feelings fluctuate, but obedience anchors you. You are not called to understand every instruction. You are called to follow the voice that leads you. True surrender means obeying even when the outcome is uncertain. It's saying, God, even if this doesn't look like victory, I know you never lead me to defeat. Think of Peter stepping out of the boat into stormy waters. He did not wait for the waves to calm. He walked while they raged. The miracle was not the calm, it was his courage to step. You, too, are being invited to step out to walk where faith, not sight, is your compass. The test you face now may not be about action, but about waiting. Sometimes obedience means staying when leaving would be easier. Other times it means speaking when silence feels safer. Obedience has many forms, but its essence is the same trust that God knows better. In the quiet places, obedience is forged. When no one sees your sacrifice, heaven writes it in gold. Your private obedience builds public favor. When you obey in secret, God rewards in sight. Do not fear this test. You were made for it. The same Spirit that empowered Abraham, Moses, and Esther lives in you. You carry the same divine strength that says, though it costs me, I will still obey. The weight of obedience may bend you, but it will not break you, it will bless you. Now, pause for a moment. Let this truth rest on your spirit. You may not understand what God is asking of you right now. You may even wrestle with His timing. But if you sense His voice calling you to release something, this is your moment of response. Do not delay, heaven is listening. If this word resonates deep within your spirit, if you feel that gentle conviction stirring your heart, type, I will obey. Type it not as a mere comment, but as a covenant. Let those 3 words be your declaration to heaven and to yourself. It's not about performance, it's about posture. When you type it, you are saying, I trust you, God, even here, even now. Obedience may not always feel rewarding in the moment, but it always leads to revelation. What you lay down today will rise tomorrow in glory. You are not losing by obeying, you are being positioned for promise. So trust the process, surrender the outcome, and let obedience lead you into the fullness of your destiny. Chosen one, there comes a turning point, a sacred shift, when heaven begins to reverse the very things that once seemed to bury you. Everything that was against you begins to align for you. The darkness that once mocked your light now becomes the backdrop for your brilliance. This is the divine reversal. The mysterious moment when God rewrites what the enemy meant for evil and turns it into the stage for your anointing. You've walked through fire, endured silence, and faced tests that stripped you bare. Yet even now, God whispers, it's time for reversal, restoration, and recognition. Heaven begins to breathe into your ashes until they shimmer with glory. What once looked like loss begins to reveal itself as the raw material of miracle. Divine reversal is the moment when prayers that once returned empty now come back overflowing. It's when your past pain becomes someone else's roadmap to healing. It's when closed doors reopen, not because of luck, but because obedience has unlocked them. Every season of breaking was not just for survival, it was for setup. You are stepping into a divine plot twist, one only heaven could orchestrate. Every delay, every detour, every denial, none of them wasted. They were chapters in a story whose ending was written by mercy itself. And now, the author of your life flips the page, revealing that every heartbreak had holy handwriting hidden in it all along, as was spoken in the sacred book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. In all things, God works for the good of those who love him, the called by his purpose. These are not mere words, they are the blueprint of divine reversal. All things, the tears, the trials, the betrayals, even the silence are woven into good. Nothing you've endured is wasted. Heaven is the ultimate recycler, turning ruins into revelations, scars into signs of survival, pain into power. Think of Joseph betrayed by his brothers, forgotten in prison, yet elevated to save nations. Think of Ruth grieving in a foreign land, yet walking straight into redemption. The same God who reversed their sorrow is working behind the curtain of your life, arranging a redemption so beautiful it will make sense of every sleepless night. Chosen one, you may not feel the shift yet, but heaven is already moving. The very soil that buried you will now birth you. The rejection that wounded you will now reveal you. God is not only restoring what you lost, he is multiplying it. What felt like an ending was actually a doorway disguised as disappointment. This reversal is not about public vindication, it's about divine transformation. The victory is not in proving your doubters wrong, it's in proving your faith right. Those who watched you fall will witness you rise, not in pride, but in purpose. And when they ask how you survived, your answer will be simple: grace carried me. Now, as this message reaches your heart, I want to speak to you not as a voice behind a screen, but as a fellow traveler on this sacred journey. Each word shared here is a spark meant to keep your faith burning when the night feels long. And together, we are building a fire that lights the path for countless others still searching for hope. If this message has touched something deep within you, if it has reminded you that your story is far from over, then help keep this flame alive. When you like and share, you are not just spreading words, you are extending warmth to someone else walking through their storm. Your one act of kindness becomes a candle in another's darkness. If you subscribe, you join a growing circle of souls who refuse to give up, who choose light over despair. And if you ever feel led to donate, do it not out of duty, but as worship. Every seed you sow becomes oil for the lamp that continues to burn in this space. Together, we keep the message alive for those who have no strength left to listen for themselves. What we are building here is not just content, it's communion. It's the modern-day temple where broken hearts come to be reminded that heaven still writes beauty from ashes. Your participation is not small, it is sacred. So, chosen one, keep standing. The script of your life is being rewritten even as you read these words. The ashes are still warm, but from them, something radiant is rising. And soon, you will see it, how every no was making space for the greater yes. How every tear watered the soil of your breakthrough. Hold this truth close. The same God who reversed graves into gardens is doing it again in you. Chosen one. When you come through the storm and the dust begins to settle, there is something sacred that remains, something heaven alone can give. It is not wealth, not status, not applause. It is oil. The kind that cannot be bought or borrowed. It is the oil of suffering, the anointing that flows only from the wounds of endurance. You have cried for relief, but God was preparing a fragrance. You have begged for escape, but heaven was brewing essence. Oil in Scripture always symbolizes anointing, and anointing never comes without crushing. Just as olives must be pressed until they bleed oil, your life has been pressed until grace began to flow. That pressure you felt, the kind that brought you to tears, that stripped you to nothing, it was never to destroy you. It was to distill something pure within you. Suffering, to the natural eye, seems senseless, but to heaven, it is sacred chemistry. Every pain becomes a particle of power. Every tear becomes an ingredient of revelation. God does not waste what hurts you. He transforms it into healing for others. What once made you weep will one day make you wise. In the ancient temple, priests were anointed with oil before they could minister. That oil had to be prepared through crushing, through heat, through process. You, too, are being prepared. The pain you feel now is not meaningless. It is manufacturing something divine. The crushing of your spirit is releasing a fragrance that reaches heaven and draws angels near. You've seen what joy can do, but now you will see what sorrow creates. You've known how laughter builds connection, but soon you will understand how tears build compassion. You've tasted success, but suffering will teach you significance. There is no true anointing without empathy, and empathy is birthed in anguish. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. Notice those words, oil of joy instead of mourning. That means the oil does not replace mourning, it emerges from it. The crushing is not cancelled, it is converted. The very places where you mourned are the wells from which the oil will flow. Chosen one, your tears were not wasted. Heaven counted them one by one, storing them like precious drops in a golden vial. Each tear carried a message, and heaven heard them all. Those tears were not weakness, they were worship. Every moment you cried, yet still believed, still prayed, still obeyed, you were pouring oil on the altar of faith. This is why your presence carries weight now. When you walk into a room, people sense peace. They may not understand it, but your spirit carries the aroma of endurance. You smell like survival. You smell like grace. That fragrance cannot be faked or forced. It comes only from those who have walked through fire and found God in the flames. The oil of suffering changes you in ways that comfort never can. It deepens your compassion for the broken. It silences judgment and awakens mercy. You no longer look at pain with fear, but with understanding. You begin to see that God's greatest work happens in the soil of sorrow. In this stage of your journey, you may feel both stronger and softer. That is no contradiction. That is the mark of anointed maturity. You are becoming unbreakable, yet gentle, bold, yet humble, powerful, yet tender. The crushing made you real. It removed the plastic layers of faith that only work in easy seasons. What remains is truth refined by fire. The oil within you will attract what aligns with heaven. It will draw divine connections, opportunities, and assignments that match the depth you now carry. You will find that you no longer chase what is shallow. Your spirit longs for what is sacred. The world may celebrate convenience, but heaven crowns endurance. Sometimes you will still feel the echo of pain, the phantom ache of old wounds, but do not despise it. Those scars are not reminders of defeat, they are reminders of devotion. They prove that you have walked through darkness and still chosen light. They prove that your faith was not theory, but testimony. Chosen one, never envy the easy path. Easy roads rarely lead to deep oil. The narrow road, the one lined with tears and tests, is the road that drips with glory. You have walked that road faithfully, and heaven has been watching. Every prayer uttered in pain was a drop of oil. Every act of faith when you felt forgotten was another drop. Now, you carry the fragrance of the faithful, and soon, that fragrance will heal others. Those who come near you will sense peace in your presence. They will ask, "What changed?" And you will tell them about the God who turned your suffering into oil. You will tell them how beauty rose from ashes, how praise grew from pain. The oil of suffering is heaven's most mysterious gift. It cannot be taught in books or learned through comfort. It can only be received through surrender. You have surrendered, and now you are being sealed. The oil upon you will speak louder than your words ever could. It will open doors that effort never could. So, do not curse the crushing. Bless it. It birthed the anointing that rests upon you now. And when you stand in moments of peace, remember the process that produced it. For the oil that flows from you is not ordinary, it is sacred, born of fire and faith. Walk gently now, for you carry holy oil. Wherever you go, heaven will follow the fragrance. Chosen one, after the crushing, after the fire, after the silence, there comes a moment when heaven begins to unveil what it has been crafting in secret. The shadows that once concealed you begin to lift, and light gently reveals what the darkness could not destroy. This is your moment of recognition, the hour when the hidden becomes seen, when the waiting meets its reward, when God's timing collides with your obedience. It will not arrive with noise or spectacle. Divine revelation rarely does. It comes like sunrise, quiet but undeniable. You'll feel it before you see it, the shift in the atmosphere, the soft awareness that something in heaven's clock has struck your name. You will sense the change first in your spirit before the world ever notices. For years, it may have felt as though you were invisible. You watched others succeed while you served in silence. You gave when no one gave back. You sowed with tears, wondering if the soil would ever yield fruit. Yet every moment of hidden labor was divine rehearsal. God never forgets a seed, even if it falls in secret ground. The recognition coming to you is not for applause, it's for assignment. Heaven is revealing you because the world now needs what was cultivated in your obscurity. Every tear, every prayer, every lonely act of obedience has matured into an anointing that can now serve others. You are being called forth not for validation but for vocation. There is a reason God hid you for so long. Exposure too early destroys potential. A flower forced open before its time dies quickly. But when the season shifts and the timing aligns, nothing can stop the bloom. You are that flower, chosen one. You are opening in the exact hour heaven ordained, as was written in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Those final two words, due time, carry power. They are heaven's calendar, not your time, not the world's time, but due time. The recognition you've been waiting for will not arrive one moment too soon or too late. It will come precisely when the soil of your spirit is strong enough to sustain the weight of blessing, When God elevates you, it will not be subtle, it will be sovereign. Opportunities will open that no human hand could engineer. The same people who overlooked you will begin to notice. Not because you changed your strategy, but because God changed your season. You will realize that promotion in the kingdom is not earned, it is entrusted. But remember this: beloved, recognition is not the goal, revelation is. You are not being seen so that you can shine, you are being seen so that His glory can be displayed through you. The spotlight is not for vanity, it is for visibility of purpose. Those who encounter your story will see not talent but testimony. Not your skill but His sovereignty. There will be moments of astonishment. Doors that were locked for years will suddenly swing open. Words you once whispered in faith will now become manifest reality. What once looked like failure will be revealed as foundation. You will stand in places you never expected, carrying peace you never knew you had. Yet even in this season of elevation, humility must remain your anchor. Do not let success drown the simplicity of your surrender. The same God who raised you up is the one who refined you in obscurity. Carry gratitude like armor. And remember, recognition is responsibility. The higher you rise, the deeper you must root yourself in His presence. Chosen one, heaven does not lift you for applause but for assignment. The light shining on you now is meant to illuminate paths for others. You are called to be a torchbearer, to guide those still wandering through the wilderness you once survived. Your recognition is not about fame, it's about function. The enemy may try to distort this moment. He will whisper, "You finally arrived," as though your value depends on visibility. But do not believe that lie. You were valuable when you were invisible. Recognition changes your stage, not your status before God. Whether hidden or seen, you are still chosen, still His, still called. When people begin to see you, they will not understand what it cost you to stand. They will see the crown but not the crushing, the glory but not the grief. Yet that's the mystery of divine recognition. It conceals as much as it reveals. What they see is the surface. What God sees is the soul. And so, as you step into this new light, walk gently. Let every compliment become a chance to give glory back. Let every opportunity remind you of every night you almost gave up. You are standing here not by chance, but by choice, heaven's choice. Now, chosen one, if these words have touched something deep within your spirit, if you sense that your own due time is drawing near, comment 111 below. Let that number be your prophetic sign, your quiet agreement with heaven that you are ready not to be seen, but to serve. You are ready to carry the recognition not as a reward, but as a responsibility. When you type it, you declare to heaven, "I will rise, but I will rise with reverence. I will shine, but I will shine for you. Your due time is here. Step into it with humility, and watch how heaven honors what you endured in silence." Chosen one, there is a tenderness that follows every storm. After the thunder quiets and the sky begins to heal, you realize that something within you has been remade. The fragments that once felt shattered begin to fit together differently, not as they were, but as they were meant to be. This is the restoration of the broken vessel, the season when God gathers what was scattered and breathes life into what you thought was gone forever. Restoration is not about returning to how things were. It is about becoming what you were always meant to be. When God restores, He does not glue the pieces together to hide the cracks. He fills them with glory so that his light shines through every fracture. You are not being put back together. You are being recreated with purpose in every scar. You see, human restoration tries to erase pain. Divine restoration transforms it. God never wastes wounds. The marks that life left upon you are now part of heaven's masterpiece. Your story, once defined by brokenness, is being rewritten into beauty. The same hands that allowed the breaking are now shaping the rebuilding. And this time, nothing will be fragile because it will be founded on truth. There is a Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks are not hidden but highlighted, for they tell the story of survival. The vessel becomes more valuable because of its brokenness, not in spite of it. That is what God is doing with you. Beloved, He is filling your cracks with His glory so that everyone who sees you knows this one was broken, yet rebuilt by heaven. You once prayed for restoration, thinking it meant recovery. But recovery takes you back. Restoration moves you forward. You will not return to who you were before the breaking. That version of you was too small for the glory now resting upon you. What is rising within you is wiser, deeper, stronger, more compassionate. You are becoming whole in ways that unbrokenness could never teach. The prophet Elijah once hid in a cave, weary and crushed after the fire of Mount Carmel. But God restored him not by removing the weariness, but by giving him a fresh mission and a whisper of His presence. Restoration does not always erase the past, it redeems it. You will not forget the pain, but you will see it differently. The memories that once made you cry will one day make you worship. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten, those years, the wasted seasons, the stolen joy, the lost opportunities. They are not gone. Heaven is the only realm where time is not lost but redeemed. God can pack 10 years of fruit into one season of favor. You may feel like you've fallen behind, but restoration has a way of accelerating what was delayed. When God restores, He does not return what was, He multiplies what will be. The same field that once lay barren will soon overflow. The same heart that once bled will now bless. Every place that felt stripped bare will soon sing again with the sound of new beginnings. Chosen one, the restoration you are stepping into is not external. First, it begins inside. God restores the mind before the miracle. He quiets the chaos, silences the guilt, and rewires your perception. He replaces shame with strength, anxiety with assurance, and regret with revelation. You begin to see through healed eyes, to love through a renewed heart. You may still feel fragile, but that fragility is now holy. The vulnerability that once embarrassed you will now empower you to connect deeply with others. Your broken places become bridges, avenues through which grace can reach the wounded. What was once your pain becomes your ministry. What once buried you becomes your platform. Do not despise the process of being restored slowly. God rebuilds carefully, layer by layer. He is not rushing, He is reinforcing. Each new beam He places within your spirit is anchored in wisdom. Each healed memory is sealed with peace. He is crafting a vessel that will not just contain blessing but sustain it. And when restoration is complete, you will not simply testify, you will embody testimony. People will look at your life and see evidence that resurrection is not just for graves but for dreams, dignity, and destiny. In this new wholeness, you will carry quiet confidence. You will no longer seek validation from others, for you will have felt the approval of heaven. You will walk differently, speak differently, love differently, because you will know what it means to be rebuilt by grace. Chosen one. Restoration is not a reward for endurance. It is the natural outcome of divine love. God breaks only to bless, empties only to fill, and wounds only to heal deeper. You are walking proof that broken things still sing, that ashes still glow, that hearts still rise after ruin. Soon you will look back at the wreckage and see architecture. You will trace the cracks and find gold. And in that moment, you will understand that what you lost was never greater than what you found in the rebuilding him. Chosen one. As restoration takes root within you, something new begins to emerge, a gravity of spirit, a sense of divine weight that settles gently yet unmistakably upon your soul. It is not the heaviness of sorrow anymore, but the sacred weight of glory. You begin to carry what once would have crushed you. What used to overwhelm now empowers. What once made you tremble now makes you stand taller. This is the paradox of heaven's transformation. The same fire that once burned you now blazes within you. You no longer merely survive trials, you shine through them. You carry a calm authority that the world cannot imitate, for it was forged in the hidden furnace of faith. You no longer need to prove your worth, you embody it. The weight of glory is not visible to the eye, yet everyone who meets you feels it. It is the quiet power of presence that speaks before words do. It's the peace that enters a room when you do. The assurance that settles hearts without a single sentence spoken. This is the fragrance of someone who has walked with God through both the fire and the flood. But carrying glory requires a steady heart. Glory is not light, it is luminous. But it is also weighty. Those who carry it must have shoulders strengthened by surrender and hearts anchored by humility. This is why the breaking came first. Only the surrendered can sustain the supernatural. God trusts his glory to the ones who know it's not theirs. As the apostle reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." The eternal glory Paul spoke of is not something distant, it begins here. In every soul that chooses endurance over escape, faith over fear, and surrender over control. Every trial you faced has been adding weight, layering strength, and building endurance for this moment. You are stronger than you know, because heaven has been conditioning you for capacity. The weight of glory changes how you see everything. Ordinary moments begin to shimmer with meaning. Conversations once casual now carry compassion. You start to sense heaven's fingerprints on even the smallest details. You find yourself pausing more, listening deeper, forgiving quicker. This is what happens when the eternal begins to outweigh the temporary. Glory does not remove pain, it redeems it. You still remember the suffering, but it no longer stings, it sings. You no longer view your scars as evidence of failure, but as entry points for grace. The light now shines through the cracks, and those cracks, instead of diminishing you, magnify the brilliance within. Carrying glory also means learning a new rhythm, one of reverence. You can no longer run at the pace of the world. Your steps are guided by sacred intention. The one who carries heaven cannot move hastily. You walk as one entrusted with something holy. Every choice becomes an act of worship. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reflect His light. You begin to understand why humility is heaven's crown jewel. The greater the glory, the deeper the bow. True carriers of glory do not boast, they bless. They do not shine to be seen, they shine to serve. The more heaven entrusts to you, the more your heart longs to give. This is the quiet nobility of the chosen, the ones who wear invisible crowns of surrender. Sometimes the glory will feel heavy. You will sense a burden for people, for places, for purposes greater than yourself. You will wake with intercession in your spirit, with compassion you cannot explain. This is the evidence that you are carrying God's heart, not merely your own. The weight of glory is not meant to crush you, it is meant to conform you into His likeness. And though this weight feels sacred, it also brings rest. You no longer fight to be seen or strive to be enough. You walk in settled confidence that your worth has already been declared by heaven. The striving ceases, the worrying fades, and peace reigns. That peace itself is part of the glory it wraps around you like light around flame. People may not understand the shift in you. Some will say you've changed, and they will be right. But they will not understand the cost of that change, nor the call it carries. You are not just different, you are distinguished, marked by mercy, tempered by truth, steady under the same storms that once swept you away. The weight of glory is not a crown you wear on your head, it's a fire you carry in your chest. It glows in your kindness, burns in your endurance, and shines through your humility. The world calls it resilience, heaven calls it radiance. Chosen one, walk with care, for what rests upon you is not ordinary light. It is divine presence, the residue of encounter, the evidence of refinement, the echo of eternity living in mortal flesh. You carry heaven now, and wherever you walk, glory follows. Chosen one, the journey has brought you to this sacred threshold, the place where purpose and preparation finally meet. You have been crushed, refined, and rebuilt. You have endured fire and silence. And now heaven whispers, it is time. This is the moment of commissioning the divine, sending forth of one who has been proven in private to serve in power. When God commissions a soul, it is not with trumpet blasts or fanfare. It often begins quietly, like the first light of dawn stretching across a weary sky. Yet in that stillness, something eternal is set in motion. You are no longer hidden, you are assigned. Every lesson, every scar, every delay, each has prepared you to carry light into places still wrapped in shadow. To be commissioned is to be trusted. God does not send the untested, for they might break beneath the weight. But you, your endurance has become your armor. You have been tempered by trial, like steel forged in fire. Now you are ready to wield that strength, not for self, but for service. The commissioning of the chosen is never about title or status, it is about surrender. You are not being crowned, you are being called. You are being positioned as a vessel through which heaven will pour comfort to the broken and courage to the weary. The words that once healed you will now heal others. As the Apostle wrote in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." That verse is not merely a metaphor, it is a mandate. You were not refined in secret to remain unseen. You are the lamp placed on a stand, the voice that will echo through silence, the heart that will remind others that hope is still alive. The world grows darker by the day, but the darker it becomes, the brighter your obedience will shine. You are being commissioned as heaven's weapon of light. But remember, light is not loud, it simply reveals. You do not need to force your presence itself will carry power. Wherever you go, atmospheres will shift because you have learned how to host God's presence within you. There will be moments when you doubt this calling, moments when you feel unqualified. Yet that humility is part of the design. God's commissions are never given to the proud, but to those who know the price of dependence. You are not being sent because you are perfect. You are being sent because you are proof that grace restores what it chooses. The commissioning also carries responsibility. To shine means to stay connected to the source of light. To pour out means to remain filled. You cannot carry the fire of heaven if you neglect the altar of prayer. Keep the flame alive, not through striving, but through stillness. The same voice that called you must continue to guide you. Chosen one, your testimony is no longer just your story. It is heaven's strategy. The people who once doubted you will now find hope through you. The ones who broke you will see the mercy that rebuilt you. You will speak words that pierce through despair, and your peace will become a shelter for others. Now, before this moment passes, take a breath and feel what heaven is doing. You are standing on sacred ground, the threshold between preparation and purpose. Every word that has reached you through these messages has been oil poured into your lamp. Now, that lamp is ready to burn. If this message has stirred something in you, if you feel the weight of this commissioning, then I invite you, with a heart full of humility, to help keep this light burning. When you like and share, you are not feeding an algorithm. You are helping heaven's words reach someone who may be standing on their last ounce of faith. Your simple act of sharing could be the spark that keeps another heart from going dark. When you subscribe, you are joining a community of light bearers, those who have decided that their pain will no longer be wasted, that their scars will serve a purpose. And if you ever feel led to donate, know this: your giving becomes the wick that carries the flame farther. You are not funding a message, you are fueling a mission. Every gift, large or small, becomes a drop of oil that keeps the lamp burning in this sanctuary of words. Your support turns whispers into waves. It allows these divine echoes to reach places where silence has reigned too long. Together, we are building not a platform, but a lighthouse, a beacon for those lost at sea, searching for proof that God still speaks. And as you listen now, feel this commissioning settle upon you. Heaven is releasing you not to escape the world, but to illuminate it. You are a carrier of compassion, a guardian of grace, a messenger of mercy. Wherever you walk, light will follow. Before you leave this moment, write a few words of reflection in the comments. Share what truth or image struck your heart most deeply. Your words may become the confirmation someone else is praying for tonight. Because the chosen do not rise alone, they rise together. Chosen one. There comes a point in the journey when your story is no longer just your own. The oil you carry, the fire you've kept, the wisdom carved from wounds, all of it begins to ripple outward. You start to see your past not as a burden, but as a bridge, connecting your pain to the healing of others. This is the legacy of the broken ones, the sacred truth that those who have been crushed for glory do not walk in vain. Your scars are no longer symbols of suffering. They have become scrolls of instruction. Each mark tells a story, and each story carries power. You survived what others did not because you were stronger, but because God intended your survival to be a signal. The grace that held you is now meant to hold others through your words, your actions, your compassion. Legacy, in heaven's language, is not about monuments or memory. It is about impartation. It is what flows from your spirit long after your voice goes silent. Every act of mercy, every word of hope, every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, these are eternal seeds planted in the souls of others. The world may forget names, but heaven never forgets impact. The broken ones carry a special authority. They speak with weight because they have bled for their wisdom. They do not offer theories, they offer testimony. And testimony is irresistible. It carries the scent of authenticity. People can argue with doctrine, but they cannot deny evidence. You are living evidence that grace is real. When you speak, even softly, heaven moves, because your words are not merely spoken, they are distilled from endurance. Every syllable has been baptized in tears and purified in prayer. The authority of the broken does not come from eloquence but from empathy. You no longer need to convince anyone, you simply become the message. As the prophet Jeremiah once wrote in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22 to 23, because the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. His compassions never fail new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. Those verses describe the anthem of every broken one who still believes. The fact that you wake each day still reaching for God is proof that mercy has never left you. The world sees survival as luck. Heaven sees it as purpose. Every morning you rise is another chance to write legacy with your life. The legacy of the broken is built not in grand gestures, but in quiet consistency. It is in the way you choose kindness over cynicism. It is in the patience you show when others rush. It is in the peace you protect even when chaos knocks. The glory of the broken is that they no longer need to prove, they simply reflect. You are becoming a lighthouse, guiding others who wander through storms you once survived. Without words, your presence tells them, you can make it too. You are not preaching from a pulpit, you are preaching from your posture, steady, humble, radiant. The fire that once threatened to destroy you now glows as a beacon of grace. Your legacy will not be measured by how many people know your name, but by how many lives were touched by your light. Heaven keeps the truest record. The moments when you encouraged someone who was ready to give up, the times you prayed for others while you were still bleeding yourself. Those are treasures stored in eternity. The legacy of the broken is a paradox. They are soft yet strong, weary yet willing, quiet yet powerful. The same wounds that once silenced them now give them voice. And that voice, gentle but unshakable, carries farther than any shout. You may not see the full fruit of your impact while you walk this earth. Legacy often grows in the soil of unseen seeds. But one day, perhaps long after your words are gone, someone will stand stronger because of the courage you carried. Someone will find hope in a testimony you once whispered through tears. Your life, chosen one, is becoming a map for those still lost. You show them that brokenness is not the end, but the beginning of brilliance. You teach them that healing is not perfection but partnership with grace. You remind them that the hand that broke them was the same hand that built them back brighter. Even in stillness, your life will continue to speak. Your peace will preach. Your patience will prophesy. The rhythm of your redemption will echo in generations yet unborn. That is the beauty of the broken. They build legacies that outlive pain. And when your days come to rest, heaven will not ask how many crowns you wore, but how many hearts you mended. The reward of the broken is not applause, it is alignment. To have lived in step with grace is the greatest victory of all. Chosen one, you have walked through the crushing, endured the fire, survived the silence, and risen from the ashes. Every season has brought you closer to this, the crown after the crushing. This crown is not made of gold or jewels, but of glory and endurance. It is not worn upon your head, but rests within your spirit, shining through the way you live, the way you love, the way you carry light into every shadow. The crown, after the crushing, is the final seal of heaven's process, the moment when everything that once broke you now bows to you. The pain that once silenced you becomes the melody of your message. The scars that once embarrassed you become the symbols of your strength. You are not the same person who began this journey. You have been refined into something radiant, a vessel of divine resilience. This crown is not earned through striving, it is bestowed through surrender. It comes to those who did not quit when the world fell apart, who held on to faith when all evidence said to let go. It belongs to those who kept walking through fire, trusting that even flames could serve the Father's will. As was proclaimed in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." That crown of life is what rests upon you now. It is not something distant or abstract. It is the quiet authority of the redeemed. It is the unshakable peace that no storm can steal. It is the joy that no loss can quench. It is the mark of one who has tasted both suffering and salvation, and now walks with heaven's rhythm in every step. You have become both battle-tested and grace-filled. You have learned that true strength is not loud, but luminous. You no longer need to prove anything. Your presence speaks for itself. Those who meet you sense something eternal, a serenity that cannot be taught, only carried. You are not merely surviving, you are reigning. But this crown does not make you untouchable, it makes you more reachable. The crowned ones do not rule, they restore. They do not look down, they lift up. The authority you carry now is not about power, but about presence. When you enter a room, peace follows, not because you command it, but because you embody it. Every lesson, every wound, every moment of surrender has woven itself into this mantle. The crown, after the crushing, is not a trophy. It is testimony made visible. It is the light that lingers on you because you refuse to let darkness define you. It is the gleam of grace reflected through eyes that have seen too much and still choose love. You now walk differently, not in haste, but in holiness. Your pace has slowed to heaven's rhythm. You do not chase what fades because you have touched what endures. You do not seek validation because you have already been chosen. You do not fear loss because you know that what is eternal cannot be taken. The crowned ones are easily misunderstood. The world may see calm and mistake it for complacency. But your calm is courage clothed in peace. You no longer fight battles that are not yours. You have learned that victory is not always noise, it is often quiet endurance. Still standing when all else has fallen. Chosen one. Your journey has not been in vain. The crushing made you compassionate. The waiting made you wise. The fire made you fearless. Every chapter, even the painful ones, was necessary to shape the vessel that now carries glory. You are living proof that broken things can be beautiful again, that endings can birth beginnings, that surrender can lead to strength. Your crown is not an ending, it is a continuation. It is the evidence that heaven finishes what it starts. And as you move forward, you will notice that this crown does not sit still, it radiates. Everywhere you go, light will leak from you, healing hearts you never touch and speaking hope to souls you never meet. You are now part of heaven's lineage of overcomers, those who have endured the night and emerged clothed in mourning. And when others see your calm, they will find courage. When they see your scars, they will find faith. Your life will become a living sermon that grace wins, that love endures, that crowns only come through crosses. Chosen one, if you've journeyed through every word of this message, then you've walked through the path of fire and come out glowing. You have seen how God breaks, refines, restores, and crowns his chosen ones. And now, as this story reaches its close, the truth stands clear. You are not who you were when you began. You are stronger, softer, wiser, brighter. But this isn't really an ending. It's a beginning. The words you've read were not just meant to inspire, they were meant to awaken something ancient inside you. You have been called not only to receive the light, but to carry it, to let it spill from your life into the lives of others. Someone out there is still standing in the darkness you once survived, waiting for the sound of your testimony to guide them home. So let this moment breathe. Feel the weight of what you've just walked through, 17 steps from crushing to crown, and realize that this message has not found you by accident. You were meant to hear this, right here, right now. If these words have stirred your spirit, don't let them fade in silence. Like this message, so others searching for hope can find it too. Share it with someone you love, because sometimes a single sentence of truth can stop a soul from giving up. Subscribe if you wish to keep walking this journey of faith and fire together, hand in hand across the distance. And when you're ready, comment below what part spoke to you most deeply. Your reflection might be the line heaven uses to touch another heart tonight. Chosen one, go forth in light, carrying the fire you found here. The story doesn't end, it lives in you.